techie guy from TUT with the e-media department who is also helping us with some of the e-learning materials. He was supposed to join as well, but he just sent a message to say he had a doctor's appointment, but because of the queue, he's not sure he'll be able to make it on time. So I will just record the session so that he can listen in later on. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so yeah, like we're doing this short learning program. We are just about to start, and yeah, there's a group that is assisting us with some of the softwares and resources we need. But it was good you contacted me to explain that there's a possibility of using Metaverse for the activities, especially on the practical side. So yes, I think it's something we would want to look into. We just want to understand how it works and look at possibilities and see how we can integrate this even in the near future when we need to update the course and all that.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, that's the thing. You need to ascertain first if it adds value or not. Of course, right? Yeah. Cool. Well, if you want, I can then just jump in.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
All right. I'll just give you a brief background.
Yeah.
So I worked at Philips until 2013. I started as a field service engineer, and then I was managing the guys and for Gauteng, and then I was responsible for Southern Africa in terms of the customer post-sales customer satisfaction and after-sales service and so on. So I was dealing with issues with remote customers, with service contracts, and trying to figure out how we could better serve the customers and how we could improve our profit margins as a company providing the service.
Yes.
And obviously the big challenge is skills, shortage of skills in remote areas, when it comes to maintenance of equipment. And so I started working on something, part of my MBA studies, a course on value innovation, and looking at a solution that was a low bandwidth tool that people remotely you could explain to a guy remotely, how does he do basic fault finding on a piece of equipment?
Yes.
And we started with video, looking at low bandwidth video solutions, but then we realized that when you're trying to explain to someone something, especially in Africa, there can be language barriers because there's so many different languages. There's also the level of competence or experience of the person on the one end. So we realized that using 3D computer models is a very effective way of communicating, because with that you can demonstrate even better than a video, step-by-step task that needs to be performed. And so that's how we went into 3D. And subsequently, we've been doing virtual reality and augmented reality stuff, but also just PC-based and mobile phone-based solutions, but generally based on networking, so people communicating over distance. In about 2019, we decided to start working on a platform that you can have 3D spaces, 3D worlds that people can enter into. And in doing so, they'd be able to interact with each other as avatars, and they'd be able to interact with equipment and be able to learn as well. Because on the one side, there's real-time support of people who are on the ground, but on the other side, there's people who want to learn but don't have access to material. And so we have rolled out these kinds of solutions with 3D in the mining sector, as well as in forestry, as well as the water industry. And initially, I focused on medical equipment in 2013 up to about 2015, but I think generally it's quite, the industry is quite conservative, and I was also focusing on the OEMs. But with that basically as a backdrop, then what I'll do is I'll share my screen and I'll show you the platform that we have built.
Okay.
A version of the platform, and then, as I go, please feel free to ask questions or, make comments or whatever.
Okay.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, cool. All right. So essentially, what we've got here, so this is not only focused on equipment and industrial type of stuff. There's so many various ways that 3D interaction can add value. I'm just we've got a whole list of different rooms. Car showroom. We've got boardrooms with different branding.
Yeah.
Different types of environments, and within these environments you are able to have different kinds of experiences. But I think what I will do, just for the benefit specifically of looking at the use case that we are talking about, I'm going to start with basically inspection training. So inspections obviously being quite and preventative maintenance being quite an important component of what clinical engineers would need to do.
Yes.
So this is a light delivery vehicle. This is a mining sector training module, but basically the mines have got huge training requirements because of the health and safety elements. And with this vehicle, if you're driving one of these vehicles, every time you get out and then you get back in again, you need to perform an inspection of the whole vehicle, which is quite onerous, but it is what it is. So here we've got, I'm basically an avatar that I can move using my arrow keys back and forth, kind of like a 3D game. I'm going to now invite one of my, if you look at the top left, you see there's a 6-digit code.
Yes.
I'm just going to put on WhatsApp to invite one of my team to join me so you can see what it's like if someone else joins.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Okay, all right, 2, 399. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead while someone's going to join now. So I'm just going to go to the training component and select. So it's a point and click solution as well.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to this daily inspection procedure for light delivery vehicles. We will discuss the minimum safety features required. Inspect the wheel for punctures and damage.
Can you hear the voiceover?
Ensure that wheel lock nuts are properly fastened. Inspect the wheel well for obstructions. Ensure that all door handles function properly and doors can be opened easily. Inspect that all doors are closed securely. Confirm structural integrity of the side view mirror. Identification signage. This is to ensure that the vehicles are easily identifiable and assist in verifying that the vehicle is utilized in a... Confirm headlights are intact and function correctly.
Hey Dennis, how are you doing?
Hey Dean, all good? How's it going that side?
Yeah, going fine, thanks. We've got Timothy and
Freddie.
sorry,
Freddie.
Freddie. Yes, Timothy and Freddie on this side. That I'm just showing potential for use in medical device training. So
Excellent. Okay, cool. If you need anything from me, just scream. Otherwise, I'll follow you around rooms.
okay, awesome, thanks, man. All right, so then this is in the office, but this basically over the internet, people can join from anywhere in the world. So you get the gist of this, basically going through step-by-step things that you need to check. And then after this, the assessment element is that you then get a floating multiple choice window, and you need to answer multiple choice questions. So again, it's a point and click exercise.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to jump through to something that's maybe a bit more applicable to okay, so we've got auditoriums. You can also have videos, but I'm going to go to a medical equipment demo. So this is a UAM. It's Gradient Health is a manufacturer of this device. They're based in New York, but it is a oh, I didn't like that. Sorry, these bugs pop up from time to time. I'm going to share my screen again shortly. So these guys, Gradient Health, it's a non-profit company that manufactures these ventilators and anesthesia machines for low-resource countries, and the whole idea with it is that it deals with really bad environmental conditions, dust, and all of that kind of thing, as well as power interruptions and so on. And of course, for them, in being in the most remote areas, they also have challenges with service.
Okay.
I'm going to try that one more time. I demo this quite often, so I haven't had that kind of error before. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. All right, so in this case, we don't have a voiceover. We've got instructions at the top. I'm just wondering if I can move this around. No, anyway, so there's written instructions behind this window. Anyway, so there we go. Remove O2 canister. So then you click and point at so the NO2 already is removed. I click and point at O2.
Okay.
Remove the top plug. Remove the bottom plug. This is a power supply procedure just to replace a power supply, which was a part that used to fail fairly regularly.
Okay.
Remove the back cover top left screw, the middle left screw, the bottom left screw. I hope you guys can see. It is a little bit dark.
You can see.
Yes. Okay, cool. So then you have to remove these, and so basically it takes you step by step as the manual would, but now you're actually performing it yourself in a 3D space, even though it's pointing and clicking. Obviously if you had a virtual reality headset on, you'd be able to pick up a screwdriver and so on, but with that comes the cost of getting access to that kind of tool. With this, I think that this is pretty effective because, a lot of people that have tried this out, like my one business partner who doesn't come from a engineering background at all, he's so excited because he says if he ever sees one of these machines, he's going to know exactly how to change the power supply.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So then what we do is we just move that one by one, and then I think you get the idea. Essentially, then we are able to remove the left cables and the right cables. Okay. So this is just a normal procedure that when it comes to actually opening up a machine and so on. Now I'm going to jump to something that is a little bit broader in terms of its use case.
Okay.
This is a wastewater treatment works, and we did this with funding from the Water Research Commission. And so wastewater treatment works. There's just a bit of a tutorial up front, which I'm following quickly. Give me a second. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to teleport to a position high up so you can see this.
Okay. This is quite interesting.
Okay, so this is a whole plant, and at different points of the plant, there's different procedures and processes that need to be carried out. So if we're looking, I think from a clinical engineering analogy, there might be a hospital, and different sections of the hospital, you can learn about different equipment that may be familiar there. So at various points, you see there are these guys who are waving. And those guys are kind of information beacons. So I'm going to go down to the guide chemical disinfectant. And this is at a point where with the water purification, they apply chlorine. And so when you're working with chlorine, there are certain risks involved because it is a dangerous chemical. So I'm going to click on the guide. And then I get a menu, 4 different options here, but there can be more options as well. So I can link to videos. And here there's a list of videos. There's a whole bunch, and these are all videos linked straight to YouTube, but you can have your own videos that are not publicly available, that can be available to whoever's doing this. And so if I click on the first one, video pops up and it starts playing.
Okay.
So with this, you can create an experience that has existing media and existing content that's already been developed, so that's accessible, so you not everything has to be done in 3D. You can use existing content to give a more rounded, full approach.
Yes.
There's also documents. So in this case, this is a PDF document, safe working procedures. It can be any bunches of documents that the person can even download to their device as well. Then we've got a checklist application. So a checklist application, this is something that would be useful for quality audits. And that obviously is something in the water industry is very important, but in healthcare as well, especially equipment quality audits. So I can make it full screen. And this is a website that we built that you can log in from inside the 3D experience. And this is a checklist developed by the Water Research Commission. And it's got a bunch of different sections. So entering the wastewater treatment works. You click on there, it's got a number of questions. Are there complaints of wastewater leaks? Are there noticeable odors from areas outside of the wastewater treatment works? Is there adequate fencing provided around wastewater treatment works? This kind of thing, it's a standard checklist that we can change and update according to what is needed.
Okay.
And then people and you can access this from your mobile phone as well. And so someone can be walking around and performing this checklist on their phone, taking photographs as evidence. And so, for instance, the entrance is signposted. If I go to view images, I can take a photograph that I took at the site in Mpumalanga, where you got a photograph of the entrance and the signpost, so it's verifying it. It's also got a time and date stamp as well as a GPS coordinates, just to make sure no one's trying to pull the wool over your eyes.
Yeah.
So this is a powerful function, depending on if it fits the use case, right? And then finally, I'm going to go to the 3D training. So there's an arrow pointing towards. That's my avatar.
Okay.
The video pops up. So again, we're incorporating different content. You don't. So this is an existing video that's talking about PPE and the need for PPE.
Okay.
Okay, so in this case, this is just a next step and repeat step training. So I'm not having to point and click at the specific thing that needs to be actioned.
Yeah.
It's just another way that it can be done.
Okay.
So this also, you hear the voiceover is computer generated. The previous voiceover you heard was actually a voice artist. So there's different ways and means to reduce the cost of generating the stuff as well. You know, it all depends at the end of the day, what's the most effective within the budget required.
Yeah, although we can't hear the audio because you haven't turned on your side, but it's fine.
Oh, sorry, are you not hearing the audio?
Yeah.
Apologies. Okay. All right. So essentially, you know, this is a whole environment where you can have a whole bunch of different training things. It can be available for someone to do all by themselves, or it could be a group training type of experience.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump to another room. We can go to a boardroom, I think, just for a bit of a different environment.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can sit on a chair. I just click on it, and then I'm sitting on the chair. And then we can present. And so you're able to present if you have a group of people that you are wanting to present to, whether it's for training, facilitation, or meetings. If I click on the right, it becomes full screen, and you're able to then navigate websites and web tools as well as play videos. Okay, I'm not sure why that one's not working, but let me choose a different one. Excuse me. Here's the website, www. So .ac.za.
Correct.
That's right, for TT.
Yes.
I haven't changed website for a while, so I'm hoping it does change. It used to, but as time goes on and we don't update, because this is a demo version. I wonder why that was an issue. Okay. All right. So, and within this environment, you can then put any kinds of equipment. So you can have a group of people who you are then demonstrating a piece of equipment to that you're interacting with. And that's the same for any of these environments that we have. So you could have a coffee shop environment.
So do you develop this yourself, or you have a team that you co-develop all this with?
So we have the team internally. So we've got 3D artists, and they develop the 3D models, and then we've got Unity developers, and Unity being a 3D game engine tool, which is used for any kind of 3D, whether it's virtual reality or PC based. And so all of this is developed internally according to the specs of what's required.
And how expensive is it to develop a program? For instance, say we want to do a program for training technicians on maintenance of specific medical equipment. So if we take one medical equipment, for instance, let's just say a ventilator or an ECG, and we want to bring that into an environment like this, so the student can use it to learn how to disassemble, reassemble, do some preventative maintenance, following step by step, just to have an idea how much something like that would cost.
So it's quite difficult because it really depends on the content, the amount of content involved. So it's difficult to give a cost. To develop the 3D model might be, it could just be a day's work. So for instance, we did a vital signs monitor for Somerset Hospital in Cape Town, and that took a day. So that was about 5,000 Rand to develop that. But if you're wanting to now build all of the interactions, that's then another resource who then has to build the interactions. If you want voiceovers, we need to. It's almost like we need to scope it first and then be able to work out a quotation. So it might be as much as 100,000 Rand. Which is obviously a lot of money. However, we are open to different kinds of business models where we say partner with a training institution, where we will develop the content and then we just get some of the revenue of the course. And so this may be something that you guys could offer as a remote course where people access this tool, but it's slightly more expensive than if they come locally to you guys and we get that extra bit of course, for instance. That kind of model is great for us because it means we can continue to earn money and potentially more than we would have in the first place. And it also means no upfront costs for you guys as a training institution.
Yeah, I think that could work for us. That's something obviously that we're looking at, to have these short courses where people from overseas can attend. They don't have to come to South Africa, so everything will be done remotely, especially through our learning management system. So we could look at that possibility and reach some kind of agreement on how to proceed, especially with the practicals. So
that's exactly it.
Yes.
The practicals, and that's when you were talking, when, I saw the WhatsApp on the clinical engineering group.
Yes.
And I thought, wow, there's the whole reason I left corporate was to try and improve how services can be delivered in remote areas, and with the course that you guys have developed, it's obviously also aimed at helping, these kinds of situations. But the problem is still that to be able to come to South Africa, it would be a big cost, and stay for however long in a hotel or whatever the case is. So that's why I thought this might be fantastic potentially for us to review and have a look at.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, I think the next step I would want to do is to see if I can look at, or we can try and identify maybe a starting point where I can investigate and look at, okay, what equipment are you wanting to train? What is the specific training elements that you want to do? And how do we transfer this into a 3D tool like this that you'd be able to then, but also would together with you discuss exactly what would be your ideal scenario of being able to share with the people. Is it like real-time interaction, but they also then can do it by themselves and practice various things? All of these things would be important just to investigate, to identify what would be the overall costs involved, and can we find a suitable business model to go ahead with it.
Yeah, definitely. I think we need to come back and look at this again, especially now we want to run the first batch of the course, or to have the first set of students test what we have. We do have some 3D videos that our other partner is helping us to produce, which we use especially for the segment on safety and hazard management within the hospital environment. So we do have some 3D videos that they have produced for us. So we want to test for this first batch and see what happens, get a feedback. And obviously, when we are now preparing to go for the second batch, we would need to improve certain things and learn from what we have done with the first batch, and then incorporate some of those lessons to improve the course for subsequent batches. So obviously, we will need to come back and have a look at this again and look at different possibilities. And if we need to do an MOU or something and get into some kind of agreement, profit sharing agreement with TUT or something, then I think it's something we really have to look into, because we want to make this course as interesting as possible, as interactive as possible, to maintain high quality and also make it accessible to people beyond our borders. So that's our goal, that's our aim. And the more partners we can get into the project that can help us reach our goal and be able to scale it and reach as much people as possible wherever they are, I think that would be a good thing for all of us. Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree, absolutely. And of course, I also agree with the processes you need to take as well to validate what you've already put together and get feedback and so on. So absolutely, but I'm glad you like what you see and think that, that it may have some value in future.
Yeah, it definitely has a place for our course, and it will add a lot of value, and there's a lot we can do together from what I see, and this is exactly what we are looking for, to look for online teaching models that will be not only interesting and interactive, but something we can scale and be able to reach as many participants as possible wherever they are, anywhere in Africa and beyond. So
Yeah.
if this can help us to reach that goal, certainly is something I'm willing to consider. And with the discussion we've had now, I will discuss with the team as we go along. And I have this recorded. I will show it to them as well. And then I believe we can work something out.
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So are there any more questions from your side, Freddie? Are you okay?
I'm okay, Dean. I think that's a very good software, if I may put it that way, or 3D modeling. It can work very well with our practicals, I must say, because if you visualize it that way, where you can actually go inside the machine and do other things, I think it becomes easier for someone who doesn't have the background to understand what is going on. So I think it's a very good thing.
Excellent. That's great to get that feedback.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dean. We will definitely have this discussion again.
Okay.
Maybe towards the end of April, because we will finish with this first batch end of April. Then when we're looking at improvements we need to do, changes we need to do, and how we can make the course better, then we will have to have this discussion again with the entire team, and I'll also discuss this with the relevant people within TUT and see how we can incorporate this technology for future training. Yeah.
Absolutely. If you have any ideas, we obviously don't only do medical. My background is medical equipment, but as you can see, we've been doing stuff with water and for any kind of equipment focused industry, this can add value. So if you have any ideas or suggestions or people who in other industries who might be interested in this,
Yes.
I'd appreciate it if you can connect us or share information with me as well.
Okay, no, that's great. I'll keep that in mind.
All right, excellent. Okay, well, nice to chat to you again, Timothy.
Thank you very much, and all the best.
All right, excellent. Bye, Freddie. Keep well.
Okay, thanks.
Cheers, Dean.
Bye.
Bye.